Global Health Boston Marathon 2027, Silence, Signal, and the Long Run Toward Justice. We come from the premise that health is not matter. Health is information. Every heartbeat is a code. Every breath is a transmission. Every act of healing is the restoration of broken communication. Disease, therefore, is not simply biological malfunction, but informational collapse, the failure of signals to arrive, to be interpreted, to be obeyed. The global burden of disease is not merely a medical crisis. It is an epistemological one. In April 2027, the Boston Marathon becomes a corrective signal, not a spectacle, not a slogan, but a disciplined transmission, carried silently, mile by mile, announcing that health, like freedom, must be embodied before it can be proclaimed. The Global Health Boston Marathon 2027, convened by Actuate Biomedicine, is not an athletic event adorned with charity language. It is a philosophical intervention, a living demonstration that endurance, silence, and disciplined motion are the true engines of justice. Silence as signal, the Ngatia Foundation. Ngatia philosophy, described in the book Ngatia, begins where modern culture recoils, with silence. Eutemeria, the principle of Ngatia's silence, teaches that power is not amplified by speech, but conserved through containment. Knowledge without will collapses into trivia. Will without courage dissolves into fantasy. Courage without restraint erupts into chaos. Silence is not humility. It is jurisdiction. It is spiritual thermodynamics, the law by which pressure becomes force rather than noise. Marathon training is eutemeria enacted in flesh. The runner does not persuade the body with words. He or she submits to time, repetition, pain, and restraint. Each unannounced dawn run, each mile carried without witnesses, densifies intention. Energy denied exit through speech is forced into adaptation. The cardiovascular system reorganizes. Mitochondria multiply. Capillaries bloom. Biology obeys silence. The Haitai announces. The Ngatia fellow appears finished. This is not metaphor. It is physiology, Stoic endurance, and the architecture of meaning. The Stoics understood what modern metrics forget. Suffering is not noise, it is information. Marcus Aurelius wrote, not to be admired, but to discipline perception. Epictetus insisted that mastery begins with distinguishing what is within one's control. The marathon is stoicism without prose. The runner cannot negotiate distance, weather, or gravity. He can only govern response. This mirrors the deeper flaw in global health measurement. The disability-adjusted life year, daily, our dominant metric, counts loss but cannot see meaning. It is Newtonian, built on the mathematics of motion, not imagination. It tallies wreckage in the rearview mirror but cannot illuminate the road ahead. Dailies measure velocity, not vision. Motion, not surprise. Loss, not potential. The marathon corrects this error. It does not deny suffering. It redeems it by giving it direction. Health and economics as information. George Gilder reminds us that economics, like health, is not physics. It is information. Markets are not machines. They are knowledge systems, animated by surprise, creativity, and free will. When we mistake economics for mechanics, we centralize power and sever it from lived knowledge. The result is the paradox PLO Lumumba names. Those with knowledge have no power, and those with power have no knowledge. This is how disease persists amid abundance. Africa bears 24% of the world's disease burden, with only 18% of its population. In 2021 alone, the continent lost 720 million years of healthy life. This is not a failure of biology. It is a failure of visibility. Assets remain informal. Knowledge remains uncodified. Capital lies dead, as Hernando de Soto observed, not because it does not exist, but because it is invisible to the systems that allocate power. Blockchain enters here not as speculation, but as the mathematics of justice. Built on Claude Shannon's theory of information and entropy, blockchain encodes surprise into trust. It decentralizes authority, aligning power with distributed knowledge. It transforms dead capital into living wealth. It replaces retrospective accounting with real-time signal. Blockchain is not the rearview mirror of dailies. It is the windscreen, the marathon as megaphone without noise. Here lies the paradoxical genius of Global Health Boston 2027. It uses the loudest athletic stage in the world to proclaim a message born of silence. The Boston Marathon is watched precisely because it is difficult. Its prestige arises from restraint, not hype. To qualify is to submit to discipline long before applause is possible. This mirrors the architecture of blockchain, which produces trust not through authority, but through proof of work. Running is proof of work for health. Every step declares that non-communicable diseases are not non-communicable at all. Hypertension is miscommunication. Diabetes is broken dialogue. Cancer is cellular silence that refuses instruction. Stroke is interrupted signal. These are informational collapses, not mechanical failures. Running restores communication. Heart, lungs, vessels, muscles, and nerves resynchronize. Exercise is not recreation. It is recoding. It is the most accessible protocol for reducing the global burden of disease, available without patents, borders, or permission. A call to the world. Run, don't announce. Global Health Boston 2027 is an invitation, not to cheer, but to participate. Run where you are. Train in silence. Let the body relearn order. Let pressure do its work. Do not announce transformation. Embody it. In doing so, you join a movement that understands health not as charity, but as justice, not as expenditure, but as investment, not as noise, but as signal. The Ngatia fellow does not persuade the world with words. He or she reorganizes reality until the truth becomes unavoidable. This is the long run toward equity. This is silence amplified into action. This is the marathon as manifesto. And when the finish line is crossed in Boston in 2027, the message will already be complete, encoded in bodies, recorded in ledgers, and carried forward by a world that has learned, once again, how to listen.